What's up, guys? Welcome back. Before we sold our fitness business, our best year that we had to date was at $2,155,000. Now, the crazy thing is we averaged a 66% close rate, not just that year, but over the 5 years that we ran that business. Now, we actually did $5 million in combined revenue in that business before we sold it. And then if you also factor in Impact Fitness Coaching Academy, we've done over 35 million in sales. It's right about 36 million in sales. That's it's combined over 40 million in sales. Okay. And a lot of people lie about their numbers. So those watching on YouTube, I'm actually showing QuickBooks income statements. Okay. And the reason I share that is not to impress you, but really to impress upon you, as Tony Robbins says, that a lot of the calls that we would get on in our fitness business, a lot of them were no's. A lot of them didn't have the money on the surface, but we had a financial objection framework that we developed and have refined called the triple tie down system. Okay. And then we use this to average a 66% close rate again over 5 years. And so I want you to stop and picture this for a minute. And for those watching on YouTube, you can see the visuals, but if you're just listening, I want you to just picture this in your head. Okay. So you're on a 45-minute sales call. It's a perfect prospect. Let's say you work with busy moms. She wants to lose 30 pounds, loves everything you said. You pitched perfectly, drop the price. You're like, okay, it'll be $3,000 for 6 months, let's say. And then she says, wow, that's way more than I expected. I cannot afford that. Okay, so what do? Most coaches panic, right? And they immediately jump to, okay, no worries. We can do a payment plan. Like, how about we do, 4 payments of $750? What happens here is you just cut your upfront cash in half. And the more upfront cash we can collect, the more likely it is that that client is going to stick to the program. It's more sticky. The more cash that we can then reinvest into the business, especially in advertising, to then acquire more customers. And just ultimately, the more healthy the business is going to be. Okay, so today I'm going to give you a framework that is called the triple tie down system that's going to allow you to collect more cash and overcome, I would say, at least half of your financial objections easily. The first thing we need to understand is that there are 2 types of money or financial objections. Okay, we have emotional and we have logical. Now, when it comes to emotional, really what that means is, number one, they have the money. They're just scared that it won't work. Okay. And there's a lack of belief in themselves or the process. Okay. So there's uncertainty. So I'm going to write down uncertainty. Okay. And that uncertainty is either that they will stick to it. Okay. Or that they're just not certain that this process and program is going to work for them. Example, let's say Sarah makes $55,000 a year. She spends $400,000 a month on Amazon, but now she's telling you that she can't afford your $2,500 program. It's more emotional. Now, on the other side, there are logical financial objections. This means they literally are not liquid. They don't have the money. Okay. They just don't have it. They want to do it. Okay. There are 10 out of 10 on certainty in your process. It's purely cash flow. Good example is Mike. Maybe he's self-employed. He just paid his quarterly taxes. He just, bought a house, blah, blah, blah. And his checking account is at $200. Now, why does this matter? If you give a payment plan to somebody with an emotional objection, they'll typically cancel in a couple of weeks because we didn't actually handle the right objection, which was the certainty piece. So we don't want to offer any solution to somebody with a logical objection. You'll lose a perfect client. Okay. If it's logical, we want to take a different approach. And that's what I'm going to share with you today. So the triple tie down helps you to identify ultimately which one you're dealing with and how to handle both correctly. Okay. So let's get into it. Now, look, there are 6 steps to this triple tie down system, all right? And 6 steps to ultimately make it rain. And I have a GIF here that's supposed to play, but it's not playing. There's like a little chick here with a money printer. Anyways, just imagine that that's going on. Now, listen, if you want the exact SOP, though, the word-for-word script and our sales manager, AP, actually going through this live in a Loom video, I'll send it to you. So all you got to do is go to my Instagram at @JordanDuggar_ and just DM me the episode number, which is 713. Just send me the number 713 and I'll send you a link. You'll get a link to this podcast and you'll get a link to the objection framework, our internal SOP. Okay, so let's get into it. Step 1, the first thing that happens is they say they can't afford it. Okay, so what we want to do is pre-frame. What I mean is we say simply, hey, okay, get it, no worries. Hey, is this just a cash flow thing or is there anything else that maybe you're uncertain about? In other words, you got to isolate that this is a cash flow thing and not like an uncertainty thing. Okay, so first is pre-framing. Ask that question. And then what we want to do is isolate. We want to double confirm. Okay, we really want to be sure about this because a lot of times people will be like, oh no, yeah, it's just the money. This sounds great. And then what you're going to say is step 2, which is isolate. You want to confirm that the objection is not financial by asking about other concerns. What that means is you'll say, cool, got it. Well, look, just to be sure, investment aside, is there anything else that would keep you less than 100% certain that you would want to work with us to lose that 30 pounds, or is this really just a cash flow thing? What we're doing here is we're taking money off the table temporarily so that we can know if there's something else. That way you and the prospect are on the same side of the table working together to figure this out. If they say, No, I love everything. It's literally just the money. Cool. That's a green light to move on. If they say, well, I'm just really worried that I can stick to it. Stop. Okay. That lets you know that it's an emotional objection, that we have to handle that. Okay. We're not focused on money right now. We're focused on the belief. If they say anything else other than 10 out of 10, yes, I'm ready to move forward, you go to the next step. Let's say that it's, more logical. What we're going to want to do now is move over to the test. Okay. So I call this the test. We're going to gauge commitment by asking if they would proceed if the objection were resolved. So what I mean now, what you're going to say is, look, totally cool. Hey, let me ask you this. Let's say you had $3,000 completely liquid right now. Would you do it? And are you a 10 out of 10 on the process specifically? So if they say, yes, absolutely. If I had the money right now, I'd pay you today. Perfect. We're going to move to the next step. If they hesitate, if they say, if they use uncertain language, that also lets you know, okay, we're going to move more into an emotional bucket and handle the uncertainty piece. Okay, so if it's uncertain, cool. Well, what is it about the program that you are unsure of? What would it take to get you from a 6 out of 10 to a 10 out of 10? Like, what are you unsure about? Because ultimately, when people need to think about things, they really just lack information. And you can even tell the prospect this. So what's more useful? You getting off the call and going and just thinking about this, where you're not able to ask the right questions, or I have all the information you need here. Let's make a yes or no decision here today. Let's say you get a strong yes, okay, that, it's like, I would move forward. So what we're going to do then is we're going to move over to step 4, which is permission. We're going to ask for permission to ask a personal question to gain deeper insight on their finances. So we're going to say, cool, got it. Well, hey, the last thing that I want is for finances to hold you back. I have some flexibility here to create something custom for you. I don't have really a standard, option A or option B set in stone. Do you mind if I ask you a personal question? They're usually going to say yes, unless you really fucked up the call and they hate you. But this one line makes the next part feel helpful instead of invasive. And this is a really, really important part. So the next part after they say yes is we're going to go to open wallet. Okay. So here's how we do that. We're going to say, cool. So I just want to see if I can help. Okay. What do you have available today in terms of cash on hand in your checking accounts, savings, or via credit cards? So you're going to write down 3 buckets. Now, most people they'll only answer one. They'll be like, I have $800 in my checking. Okay, cool. What we're going to do now is fact check. Okay. When I mean fact check is I'm literally writing down, I have checking, then I'm going to write down savings, then I'm going to write down credit. So they'll tell you, again, $800, okay, in my checkings. Okay, cool, got it. So you $800 in checkings. What about savings? Oh, I have about $1,200 in savings, and I have $800 in checking. Okay, cool, got it, understood. What about credit cards? Well, I actually have one card with $2,000 available. Okay, cool. So if you add all that up, they have $4,000 available. And if your program is $3,000, this person can't afford it. They just didn't realize that they had options, right? Typically, people only think in terms of like, what do I have in cash on hand? A lot of times what happens here, what I've seen is that you might end up finding that, dude, they have like $14,000, $15,000, $16,000 available here. And then you can just jump right to the close. What I would do is like, look, Sarah, you know what I would do if I were you? I would just pay in full. Here's why. Not only are you going to get a better price if you do prepay, but the clients who end up paying in full, they end up getting the best results because they're all in from day one. I'm telling you, my most successful clients typically do this. So what do you say we just get started today, pay this thing off, and let's get moving? A lot of times that ends up closing. Now, if that doesn't work, or if the money that you end up figuring out, like their financial situation, warrants more of a payment plan, then we're going to start to negotiate that. Now, you might also find that this person is just flat broke, but at least now you actually know that. You know it's not a smokescreen. Let's say they have $100 in their checkings, they have no savings and no credit. Okay, well, you can then ask them, well, what do you know about your credit score? Do you have a decent credit score? Because if they have over like a 500 or 600, you can get them approved through like a firm or Klarna or some of these financing companies, and you get paid in full. You pay back to the credit company. It's sometimes like 4, 6, 8%. And this is a soft credit pull. You can do it right on the call. Doesn't hit their credit report. And a lot of times, dude, even if they don't have like a credit card with an available balance, you can get them credit. There's like no early payoff penalties. Depending on their credit situation, sometimes it's like 0% interest. So anyways, I digress. What you're going to say now with the tie down and step 6. Now, after we've done the tie down, what we're going to do is a custom plan. So this is very important. This is a tie down to move into a custom plan. We're going to say, look, I appreciate you being open with me. And let me ask you this. If I was able to break this up in a way that works with what you have available, and I was even still to treat you as if you prepaid, would you be ready to get started today? It's a very important question, right? Like if I was willing to be flexible, can you commit to me that you'll get started today? Now, get the commitment. A lot of times they'll say yes, right? But if they say no, cool. Now you get to ask why. Is it uncertainty or whatever? Because we now know it's like not logical because they have the financial resources to make something work. So now we get to really isolate whatever that true objection is. So again, now we're going to start to negotiate a custom payment plan. So what that means is, let's say the program is $3,000. They have 2,300 liquid, 800 checkings, 1,500 savings. You would just be like, cool, here's what I'm thinking. Let's do 1,500 down today from your checkings and savings. I know that's a chunk, but what we'll do is we'll do 2 more payments of $750 over the next 60 days. That way you're not draining everything and you're in the program starting Monday. That's example 1. Example 2, let's say they have $2,500, 2,300 liquid and 3,000 credit. You could be like, cool, well, hey, let's do this. Let's do 2,000 down today from your accounts. That'll leave you with a $300 cushion. And then we'll do $500 in 30 days. That way you're not putting anything on credit and you're paid off in a month. Or you tell them to leverage the credit, okay? Whatever the case. Again, a standard 4 pay, if you were to just be like, cool, let's do $750 down and do 3 payments of $750, you're only collecting $750. But now with these custom plans, you're collecting $1,500, $2,000, and you're overcoming financial objections that almost always can be overcome, but coaches just don't do this. The biggest mistake that often happens here though, even before all of this, is simply offering a payment plan too early. Meaning right when you pitch the price, you jump to payment plan as an option, right? It's where it's like, you drop your price, then you go, okay, it's $3,000 or I can do 4 payments of $750. Again, you don't want to give them that option. You just want to throw out the number, okay? Because what will happen is, let's say they end up doing the payment plan, which a lot of people tend to default to. And if you had gone through this process and you had found out that they had 2,500 liquid, you could have collected 2,000 today and then 1,000 next month. But instead you're getting 750 today and praying that they don't ghost after month 2. Okay, so the rule is never offer a payment plan until you've gone through the triple tie down, because once you offer it, you can't take it back, but you have to go through this process first, because a lot of times you'll find out that they don't even need a payment plan. And our sales manager brought this into our company in, January of last year. He took our cash collected rate from 37% to 64%. And look, I understand that this feels uncomfortable. Asking about checking, savings, credit, it feels invasive. But you're not being sleazy, you're being helpful. Sales is ultimately about 2 things. Your 2 goals of a sales call is, number 1 is to identify whether or not this person is a great fit for your program and that you're sure that you can help them, and to convince them that they can be sure that you can help them, right? Now, if you're sure that you can help them, the second goal is to help them make the best decision for them. Now, the problem is that decision is always going to come outside of a comfort zone. And the comfort zone is where people die. And this is uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable for you, but it's also uncomfortable for them. But that's what creates change. That's the first step of a coaching process. Okay, so you're doing them a disservice by not exploring these options, because there are so many people that you otherwise could have helped change their lives had you just done the uncomfortable thing. Okay, so the question is, would you rather have an awkward 3-minute conversation about finances and help them change their life, or avoid the awkwardness, let them walk, and then watch them stay stuck? You're not taking their money, you're helping them to invest in themselves. So listen, that's it for today. I do want to give you this exact SOP word for word. And if you want it, it's what we use internally at IFCA. It's the same document that our clients get. All you have to do is go to my Instagram. It's @JordanDuggar_. And if you DM me the number 713, I'll send you the link. This breaks down the full framework step by step, every tie down, every question, word for word, how to identify even more thoroughly emotional versus logical objections, the 3-bucket of cash discovery process. We give you a bunch of different examples of building custom payment plans on the fly. So it's literally plug and play. Anyways, guys, I hope you found this useful. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you on the next one.